Over the next few days, Zhang Yi devoted himself entirely to rebuilding Tianhai City and began intensively training the Volt Shadow Troop. With the Earth Centipede Farm, an almost inexhaustible cultivation base for cultivators' innate origin, it became remarkably easy to elevate talented cultivators to captain level. Naturally, Zhang Yi wouldn't squander these resources on ordinary individuals. Even members of the Volt Shadow Troop received resource rewards commensurate with their potential. During this period, former members of the Tengu Squad naturally received rewards from Zhang Yi. For instance, Bai Li Changqing, already a captain-level mutant, now approached the limits of Delta class, with his ability index reaching 9,900 points. Meanwhile, negotiations between the major regions remained unresolved. The primary sticking point lay with Zhu Zheng. All regions, including the National Protectorate Army, demanded he provide substantial resources to compensate for his previous mistakes. Zhu Zheng agreed to the compensation, but the exact quantity of resources remained under discussion with all parties. Regardless, Zhu Yu's current strength was already formidable. According to Zhang Yi's estimation, after absorbing the origin of 2 Black Chariot level and 2 White Chariot level mutants, her ability index could easily surpass over 20,000 points. The exact figure remains unclear, but it certainly poses no threat to Zhang Yi's current state. Yuan Kongyue's greatest strength lies in rapid evolution, not overwhelming combat prowess. She can absorb numerous mutants' abilities and origin, allowing her to level up with minimal effort. However, this mixed and unfocused power isn't necessarily an advantage. Theoretically, she has no weaknesses in ability, possessing nearly all current elemental attributes simultaneously. Yet, she also lacks any truly outstanding strengths. Zhang Yi would keep an eye on her, but he felt no genuine fear. After the Great Battle, the mutants from various regions who had been recuperating in Blizzard City began returning one after another. Zhang Yi had thought that finally, a period of calm would arrive. Yet unexpectedly, news soon reached his ears that enraged everyone beyond measure. The Undertakers of the Southwest region, the brothers Zhugo and Luozhua, had been ambushed upon their return. The current Undertaker's injuries hadn't fully healed when he entered Sarah City. 2 Epsilon attackers suddenly appeared and struck. Had he not possessed the Snow Mountain Eagle's ability to transform into a streak of golden light and flee, his very survival would have been in grave doubt. The brothers fled all the way to the Jiangnan region, immediately sending out distress signals to all major regions. Zhang Yi received this news at the very first opportunity. His own injuries had already healed by then. After all, he'd only sustained superficial wounds, and he had Zhou Keir, a high-level Delta medical-type mutant, by his side. Zhugo and Luozhua were old acquaintances of his, so they contacted him directly. Lord Chaos, the Southwest region faces an emergency, external forces have invaded. We implore your assistance. Shock and fury flashed in Zhang Yi's eyes. External forces? Do you mean humans, or other creatures? He recalled that Nash Kingdom had been utterly annihilated by them. Could there be remnants? Or perhaps underground civilizations still lurking beneath the surface? But if it were humans, how dare they commit such an outrageous act of aggression at this critical juncture? Zhang Yi believed that Huashu Kingdom, having repelled the underground civilization's assault, had rendered immense service to humanity as a whole. This indirectly protected other nations as well. Though the Huashu Kingdom had suffered heavy losses, its strength temporarily diminished due to casualties among its top mutants. Yet any attack at this moment would be an act of utter shamelessness. Luozhua's voice carried anger. It's the mutants of Brahma. A sharp gleam flashed in Zhang Yi's eyes, his gaze turning murderous. So it was them. When the Wuluan Empire was about to invade, they had sought aid from the world's major powers. Brahma and Huashu Kingdom were neighbors. Had Huashu Kingdom fallen, Brahma would have faced immense peril. They should have sent reinforcements, yet those bastards flat out refused. That alone was bad enough, but now they dared to loot in the midst of disaster? Utterly shameless. Zhang Yi gritted his teeth until they ground together, his cold laughter cutting through the air. What a bunch of despicable scoundrels. Ever since suffering a crushing defeat at the hands of Huashu Kingdom a century ago, they had harbored a deep-seated grudge, secretly plotting against Huashu Kingdom as their sworn enemy. Today's events, therefore, came as little surprise. "Where are you now?" "I'll come and pick you up." After confirming their location, Zhang Yi donned his gear and opened a dimensional gate to travel there. Soon, he arrived at the border of the Jiangnan region, finding Luozhua and Zhugo within a ruin. The brothers were in poor shape. Luozhua leaned against a corner, clutching his shoulder where blood soaked through his clothes. Zhugo lay on the ground, his breath faint and weak. After Sangha Temple's destruction, the southwest region's power of faith had significantly weakened. Even after merging, the two were only at the level of an ordinary black chariot, no longer the invincible undertaker they once were. Even so, they shouldn't have been reduced to such a sorry state, nearly killed by their attackers. Zhang Yi approached. Their eyes lit up at his arrival. "Lord Chaos." Zhang Yi said, "No talking. Come with me for treatment first." He hadn't anticipated their injuries being so severe. Otherwise, he would have brought Zhou Qir along. Nevertheless, Zhang Yi administered medicinal injections to both before swiftly escorting them back to the sanctuary in Tianhai City. He entrusted their care to Zhou Qir, who promptly stopped their bleeding and restored some of their vital energy. Only then did their complexions begin to improve slightly. Epsilon-level mutants weren't so easily killed. Zhang Yi said, "Rest well for a while first. Then tell me exactly what happened." Unexpectedly, Luozhua shook his head. "The situation is urgent. I'll tell you now." It turned out that several days prior, they had suddenly received news. Their subordinates informed them that the southwest region had fallen into turmoil. A group of mutants had emerged from the other side of the Great Snow Mountain and swiftly occupied the entire southwest region. With Luozhua and Zhugo absent and no Epsilon to hold the fort, they were powerless to stop it. Zhugo and Luozhua's injuries hadn't fully healed, but knowing the situation, they had no choice but to hurry back. Meanwhile, with all major regions in dire need of reconstruction, the senior mutants were either injured or busy with rebuilding efforts. They felt awkward asking for reinforcements, so they set off on their own. But we never imagined the enemy's strength would be so formidable. Zhugo sighed. Two mutants appeared. They hailed from Brahma, representing the mightiest members of the 8 tribes' heavenly dragon. One was Yaksha, the other Maharaga. With our injuries and the significantly weakened power of our tantric faith, we were utterly no match for them. At this point, Luozhua gave a bitter laugh. Had they not shown mercy, we truly would have struggled to escape their grasp. Zhang Yi sneered coldly, "Mercy? As if they'd dare kill a mutant from our Huashu kingdom." Zhang Yi's face was now consumed by murderous intent. The Huashu kingdom stood on the front lines of humanity's battle against the alien races. Countless mutants fought with reckless abandon, countless perishing on the battlefield. And now they dare to stab us in the back at such a critical moment? The mutants of Brahma might hold back, likely because they themselves know deep down that such actions are immoral. Luozhua added, "That's precisely what they claimed. They said our Huashu kingdom had just endured war, our non-human forces depleted, and they came to help protect the southwest region. They promised to return everything in due time." Hearing this, Zhang Yi's cold laughter grew louder. The southwest region now lagged far behind other regions in technology. Years of internal strife had drained its human and material resources. Back then, at least the power of tantric faith bolstered their elite forces, making them somewhat formidable. But now, that advantage had vanished entirely. After the rise of the Jiangnan region, they had become the weakest among all the major regions. Zhang Yi observed the two men and remarked calmly, "Without the backing of the power of tantric faith, your losses are indeed substantial. What do you say? Should we consider rebuilding Sangha Temple?" Luozhua's expression hardened as he declared sternly, "Impossible. For 1,000 years, Sangha Temple has symbolized the exploitation of the people by Tantra and nobility. Rebuilding it is utterly out of the question." Zhang Yi countered, "Such matters belong to times of peace. Now, what matters most is strength. Otherwise, how will you protect the people of the Southwest region? Faith resides in the heart, it's only some who distort its meaning. Now, the final authority to interpret Tantra rests entirely with you two brothers. What more is there to fear? Zhang Yi paused, his eyes darting about before breaking into a sudden smile. Besides, while I don't understand the nature of your tantric faith's power of faith, Luozhua, you could easily establish something like a new tantra. Ultimately, what matters is attracting people's faith, right? These words opened a new world for Luozhua and Zhugo, who lowered their heads in deep thought. Zhang Yi stood up. For now, just rest here properly. I can't guarantee anything else, but as long as you stay here, no one can harm you, unless White Dragon himself comes. I'm going to talk to the high-ranking officials of each region. Zhang Yi turned, his gaze sharp as a sword. Let's figure out how to wipe out those bastards from Brahma. His tone was heavy with genuine fury this time. Such shameless behavior had even enraged a man as detached as Zhang Yi. Lord Chaos, we entrust this to you. The two watched his retreating figure, their words sincere. Zhang Yi immediately entered the living room, where a long list of messages from regional leaders already filled his intelligence system. Without hesitation, he initiated a video conference. Soon, projections of the regional leaders filled the living room. Zhang Yi cut straight to the point. Everyone, have you heard about the Southwest region incident? Every face darkened. Such brazen backstabbing was intolerable to anyone with even a shred of decency. Han Shanzhua erupted in a torrent of curses. I can't believe it. I was risking my life fighting those alien scum, and even if they didn't help, I'd just call them cowards. But they actually took advantage of the situation to seize our land. They deserve to die. Li Chandong also spoke with a grim expression. They've had their eyes on that area for a long time. Ultimately, we underestimated them. Black Tortoise turned to Meng Yuanjun. Could we request the International Federation to mediate this matter? All the major powers had sent representatives to this coalition. Even distant nations like Britannia had symbolically dispatched a few Delta-level mutants to at least signal their stance. Brahma's actions would undoubtedly be condemned worldwide. Meng Yuanjun rubbed his chin. I'll report this to the Federation and denounce Brahma. But that's just standard procedure, to discredit them and expose their true colors. But those bastards never care about such things. They won't return the Southwest region because of it. Black Tortoise's brow furrowed, and Li Chandong also frowned deeply, saying nothing more. If negotiations fail, then war is the only option. But right now, Huashu Kingdom is rebuilding from ruins, and the top-tier mutants across all major regions have suffered significant injuries. In Xinjiang region, Hotu and Shang Daowen are recuperating, while Zongyue was instantly killed by the Hades gatekeeper. The East Sea region fared little better. Azure Dragon was dead, and Black Tortoise was gravely wounded. If a conflict with Brahma truly erupted now, it would likely become an immense burden for the Huashu Kingdom. Indeed, victory itself was far from assured. In the East Sea region headquarters, Supreme Commander Li Guangxiao swept his gaze across the assembled figures and declared in a solemn voice, if it truly proves impossible, I propose shelving the issue for now. Apply international pressure on Brahma and send envoys to negotiate. Military conflict should be temporarily off the table. Many eyes burned with anger as they looked at him, but Li Guangxiao remained calm. We need time to recuperate and rebuild our strength. Once we've restored our power, we'll march forth and reclaim the Southwest region in one decisive blow. After Li Guangxiao finished speaking, Han Shanzhua let out a cold laugh. So you're saying we should just stand by and watch our territory get seized by shameless scoundrels, forced to swallow our anger? Li Guangxiao closed his eyes. This is an unavoidable choice. Confronting them now would be unwise. Zhang Yi had said little throughout, instead observing the attitudes of the regional leaders. From a rational standpoint, Li Guangxiao's words held no fault. Though Huashu Kingdom had suffered heavy losses now, it wouldn't take long to recover its strength. Settling accounts with Brahma then would pose no issue. Yet, if everything were analyzed solely through the lens of reason, this world would become far too cold. Zhang Yi rested his chin on his clasped hands, his gaze coldly sweeping over the assembled figures. He had already made up his mind. Regardless of this meeting's outcome, he would personally lead an expedition to the southwest region to take out those invaders. At that moment, an unexpected voice spoke up. It was Zhu Zheng. General Li does have a point. But waiting until we're fully prepared, who knows how long that will take? And in the southwest region, countless citizens of our Huashu kingdom would be left at the mercy of others to trample upon. Zhang Yi suddenly felt something was off. For some reason, whenever the topic turned to outsiders bullying them, everyone seemed to bristle with righteous indignation. Yet since the apocalypse began, the people of the southwest region, under the rule of the four great Tusi and Sangha temple, hadn't exactly been living like human beings either. He couldn't help but find it somewhat amusing, though he said nothing more. Meng Yuanjun looked at Zhu Zheng, a deep smile playing on his face. Now that the Great War has ended, all major regions have suffered losses, and most Epsilon-level mutants are wounded. Yet only your Jiangnan region stands to gain the most. Commander Zhu, if military action is taken against the southwest region this time, your Jiangnan region will need to contribute significantly. All eyes turned to Zhu Zheng, nodding in unison. This time, your Jiangnan region stands to gain the most. If action is taken, it must be you who act. Currently, the title of Huashu Kingdom's strongest region could rightfully belong to Jiangnan, were it not for Zhang Yi, who belonged to no region. Zhu Zheng smiled. That was precisely my intention. This time, our Jiangnan region can send personnel to resolve the matter. However, Nuba, our newly promoted Epsilon, still lacks combat experience and will require assistance. As Zhu Zheng spoke, his gaze settled on Zhang Yi. Chaos, how is your recovery progressing? Could you accompany Nuba to the southwest region to handle this matter? Zhang Yi shot Zhu Zheng a glance, finally understanding what the old fox was up to. Currently, he was still negotiating compensation matters with the major regions. But if he sent someone to handle the southwest region's issue, that compensation could potentially be written off entirely, or at the very least, significantly reduced. At this juncture, involving Zhang Yi clearly meant Zhu Zheng felt most at ease having Zhu Yu lead the team alone. Everyone's gaze turned back to Zhang Yi. None of those present at the battle knew the extent of Zhang Yi's injuries, assuming he was as badly hurt as Ho Tu, Shang Daowen, and Alexei. Zhang Yi met Zhu Zheng's expectant gaze with a faint smile. I appreciate your kindness, General Zhu. However, I do not intend to accompany her. Zhu Zheng's smile froze on his face. Zhang Yi wouldn't give Zhu Zheng the chance to use him as a pawn. Moreover, he harbored a peculiar emotional distance toward Zhu Yu. This stemmed from the lingering shadow Yuan Konghua had cast over him, making him reluctant to confront Zhu Yu directly. Furthermore, Zhu Yu possessed unique abilities. Fighting alongside her risked exposing Zhang Yi's own capabilities. They might become enemies someday, and Zhang Yi preferred to keep his cards close to his chest around her. Is that so? That's rather unfortunate. Zhu Zheng's tone brimmed with regret. A golden opportunity to mend fences across the regions had just vanished. Han Shanzhua couldn't stand by any longer. He turned to Zhang Yi and said, Brother Chaos, out of all of us here, you seem to be in the best shape. If you don't want to handle this, we're stretched too thin to spare anyone. Zhang Yi rubbed his hands together and smiled faintly. I never said I wouldn't go. The others felt a surge of hope. Zhu Zheng asked with a smile, so you're agreeing to it? Zhang Yi nodded. I'll head to the southwest region myself and send those fellows packing. But you know what? I can handle this solo. Zhu Zheng gaped, muttering, you mean? You're going to handle this all by yourself? Meng Yuanjun pondered for a moment before saying, right now, Chaos still has 2 Epsilons under him, Mysterious Goddess, and Cheong Qi. If all 3 of them go out together, they really would be a formidable fighting force. At this moment, everyone recalled the composition of Zhang Yi's forces, and the room fell into silence. Such a combat unit was more than capable of shaking any regional power. Even the combat strength of Tianhai City alone could defeat some lower-ranked regions. Chaos, are you physically okay? Zhu Jing frowned as he asked, his concern evident on his face. Zhang Yi gave a faint smile. What harm could I possibly have? I didn't sustain any serious injuries during that battle. From start to finish, he had protected himself exceptionally well. Except for that final moment when the Hades gatekeeper's chain pierced his left chest, but that was merely to seal his supernatural ability, not to kill him. So what seemed perilous at the time was, in reality, only a superficial wound. Meng Yuanjuan's eyes lit up. So you're at full strength now? Zhang Yi nodded. Yes, that's correct. The eyes of the high-ranking officials from all major regions brightened. They had witnessed Zhang Yi's formidable strength firsthand in the previous battle. Across the entire Huashu kingdom, perhaps only Hotu could truly match him in combat. To put it bluntly, when Zhang Yi appeared in any region with his followers, the sheer pressure he commanded surpassed even that of the Wuluan Empire's supernatural forces led by silver armor back then. Han Shanzhua exhaled deeply. Bro, you should have said something sooner. Now I can finally relax. Zhu Zheng's gaze grew deep in thought, finally settling into an almost inaudible sigh. Zhang Yi leaned back on the sofa, his tone calm. Leave this matter to me. You won't need to lift a finger. But, well, my involvement comes with conditions. Hearing Zhang Yi speak in this manner, Li Changgong rolled his eyes inwardly, thinking, of course it has to be you. Never doing a deal without a profit. Speak. What do you need? But I'll say this up front, our northwest region is rebuilding from the ground up. We don't have many resources to spare for you. At this point, he glanced at Zhu Jing and chuckled, but your commander Zhu still owes us quite a bit in resources. Zhang Yi, however, curved his lips into a smile and waved his hand. No need. This time, I don't require any supplies from you. At these words, everyone stared at Zhang Yi as if he were a monster. The Zhang Yi they knew never left anything behind when he went out, he never made a deal that didn't turn a profit. When had they ever seen him being so generous? Precisely because of this, everyone grew secretly wary, expecting Zhang Yi to have further demands. Zhang Yi merely turned to the high-ranking officials of each region and stated, this time, I'm working for Huashu Kingdom. You know my style. If things get too messy, you'd better be prepared to clean up the mess. Meng Yuanjun wore a troubled expression. Chaos, I don't know what you're planning, but I have a bad feeling about this. Han Shanzhua roared with laughter, my brother, go all out this time. Even if you wipe out every last invader, it won't matter. Meng Yuanjun pondered for a long time, realizing that Zhang Yi's clean up the mess meant that if he killed too many, it would trigger a war between the two countries. When that time came, he hoped no one would try to pin the blame solely on Zhang Yi. Li Changgong spoke up, the Northwest region fully supports you on this matter. They started it, so we'll finish it. Chaos, go slaughter those bastards. Let them know, any nation daring to set foot on the territory of the Huashu Kingdom without permission will never return alive. With both the Northwest and Southwest regions having declared their support, though Meng Yuanjun and others still harbored reservations, the situation now demanded Zhang Yi's intervention. You couldn't expect them to do the work while shackling their hands. Meng Yuanjun nodded. Chaos, go ahead and do whatever it takes. Even if we slaughter every invader, present-day Brahma lacks the guts to wage full-scale war against us. The world's dynamics were intricate. Setting aside that Huashu Kingdom had just repelled the Wuluan Empire's invasion and held the moral high ground, there were also several rising nations surrounding Brahma, all eyeing it greedily. Starting a full-scale war was no simple matter. Another crucial factor was that Huashu Kingdom's numbers of Reaper of Love were more than 10 times those of Brahma. This was their greatest source of confidence. Zhang Yi smiled faintly, his gaze sharp as a tiger's. Since you say so, I'm relieved. As for other resources? This time, Zhang Yi was indeed magnanimous enough not to demand them. Truthfully, the major regions were in such dire straits now, most had been utterly devastated, their capitals nearly destroyed. Zhang Yi had no desire to snatch coins from beggars' bowls. Frankly speaking, the war reserves he personally controlled might rival those of the Northwest region and Northeast region. As for fleecing others, Zhu Jin alone was more than sufficient for that task. Zhang Yi immediately exited the video conference and summoned his household. He briefly explained the situation. After hearing this, everyone's faces darkened with fury. Such backstabbing treachery was universally despised. I've decided to visit the Southwest region. This time, Teacher Liang will accompany me. Zhang Yi looked at Liang Yu. Liang Yu nodded. All right. Zhang Yi ruffled Flower's fur. Flower, you stay here. Tianhai City has just settled down. To be safe, you'll guard the home. Meow, Flower had no objections. Most of the time, it preferred lounging around the house taking naps. Boss, come back soon. Fatty Sue gazed at Zhang Yi with pleading eyes. A faint smile touched Zhang Yi's lips. You'll miss me when I'm gone, won't you? Fatty Sue immediately puffed out his chest, adopting the demeanor of a loyal dog. Of course. I'd miss you every second I was apart from you, boss. Zhang Yi smiled warmly. Then you won't have to worry. This time, you're coming with me. Fatty Sue's smile froze on his face. Huh. Zhang Yi stood up, addressing both Fatty Sue and Uncle Yu. This time, the entire Volt Shadow Troop is mobilizing. His gaze grew intense. We've trained them for so long, investing massive resources to build them up. It's time to see what they can do on the battlefield. Uncle Yu grinned, revealing a mouthful of pearly white teeth, his smile radiant. That's fantastic. My bones have been itching for action. Finally, a chance to fight properly on the battlefield. Zhang Yi looked at Uncle Yu, knowing he'd undergone Lu Karen's initial surgical procedure. Transforming one's body into that of a cyborg isn't something achieved in a single step. After all, whether the flesh can withstand the machinery and achieve seamless integration without rejection requires time to validate. Thus, Uncle Yu's body had only undergone the initial stage of modification. Outwardly, he appeared indistinguishable from a normal person. Particularly considering Zhou Jaime's feelings, his primary male functions remained in their original, unmodified state. Zhang Yi had no objections to Uncle Yu undergoing the modifications. It was entirely his own choice. As long as he could live well, everything else could wait. In 1 hour, have the Volt Shadow Troop assemble at the entrance. Zhang Yi issued the order. Uncle Yu and Fatty Sue then immediately contacted by Li Changqing and the others. Zhang Yi proceeded directly to change his attire. The innermost layer was a black combat suit that enhanced the wearer's fundamental physical attributes, granting ordinary individuals superior strength, speed, and reaction times. The second layer was a new combat suit developed by Lu Karen, equipped with various powerful auxiliary functions and exceptional defensive capabilities. It withstood extreme temperatures and pressures, with built-in compressed oxygen to sustain the wearer even in the deep sea or outer space. The third layer was the submarine dragon armor, Lu Karen's continuously upgraded E-metal armor, an enhanced combat suit housing multiple special tools and weapons with astonishing defense. Tailored specifically for Zhang Yi, it was lightweight and highly functional. Regarding weapons, Zhang Yi looked at Lu Karen, who said, "Brother, follow me. I've finished modifying your weapon." The two hurried to the underground workshop. Lu Karen opened a black metal case, revealing a deep, heavy-looking, dark silver bracelet that shimmered with a mysterious glow before Zhang Yi. "Brother, as you requested, I've integrated the entire weapon system. This is the latest weapon I've forged for you. By harnessing the sword in the tree's infinite regenerative power and plant's adaptable form, it can accommodate numerous special materials. So I used the sword in the tree as the core to craft it." Zhang Yi took the bracelet and slipped it onto his wrist. The sword in the tree itself lacked consciousness, so an intelligent control system had been implanted within it. This system could sense Zhang Yi's neural fluctuations and respond accordingly. Zhang Yi issued a command from his mind. Instantly, it spread out like countless snakes, coiling around his arm and gradually creeping up his body. Lu Karen explained, "The first ability of your new weapon, Sacred Silver Armor, generates slender, spiderweb-like vines that cover your entire body, enhancing your defensive capabilities. Silver vines swiftly enveloped Zhang Yi's entire form, like a second layer of skin over his submarine dragon armor. Zhang Yi tested his movements and found no discomfort whatsoever. Enhanced defense? Excellent. That's precisely what I favor most. Liu Karen continued, brother, there's also the weapon system. Haven't you noticed your guns are gone? Only then did Zhang Yi recall his sniper rifle and dual gun were missing. Liu Karen smiled faintly. I melted them down to reforge them as the sword in the tree. You can try summoning your weapons now. Zhang Yi mentally summoned his weapons. The bracelet rapidly transformed, its slender tendrils weaving together to form two long, silver guns right in Zhang Yi's palms. Zhang Yi gazed at these versatile weapons, his eyes sparkling with delight. The sword in the tree has already reached the white chariot tier. Its defining trait is resilience, allowing it to fully withstand my power. This means I can continuously enhance its ability index, eliminating the hassle of constantly upgrading weapons. Zhang Yi deftly spun the two guns in his hands. With a mere thought, they instantly shrank into a bracelet, utterly convenient. The name sword in the tree no longer suits you. From now on, you shall have a new name, Divine Refinement. An excellent idea immediately struck Zhang Yi. The sword in the tree, having passed through Liu Karen's modifications after falling into his hands, had transformed into a super biotech weapon. Seeing how much Zhang Yi cherished this new weapon, Liu Karen smiled with satisfaction. Her recent efforts hadn't been in vain. Zhang Yi walked over, pinched Liu Karen's rosy cheek, and gazed into her eyes with a smile. Karen, wait for me. Your talent shouldn't be wasted. Sooner or later, I'll find you the resources to advance to Epsilon. I'll make you the world's top super engineer. Liu Karen's eyes lit up as she nodded excitedly. With her growing abilities, ever more splendid visions blossomed within her heart. Brother, Karen will definitely surprise you. Recalling her secret endeavors all this time, a mysterious smile curved her lips. But now wasn't the time. Soon, once that 2.5-year project concluded, she would truly astonish Zhang Yi.